I wonder why I always sing that song when I come on and waiting on people to come in. Oh, good. Early afternoon Eastern Standard Time. I'm pretty sure it's still morning for someone. Whichever fits. Good afternoon, good morning. I hope everything is well with everyone. I hope that everyone had an amazing holiday. And I hope that everyone is ready for 2025. I know I am. The closer we get, the more excited I get. I'm not even tripping on 2024. I still count it all good. Every year we're going to have ups and downs and probably some bumps and bruises, but it's like no there's no year that doesn't come without an issue, without a flaw, without a mishap or two or three. No one's complete 365 days are horrible. I can't believe that for one bit. But people will have you believe that, like the whole year was just ugh. And I think that we do ourselves a disservice when we look at the whole year as messed up because a few things that may not have gone our way. Maybe if we start to think about everything that was good in the year, we wouldn't focus so much on what we feel was bad. And I don't even think that there's necessarily bad. I think it's life. You learn as you go. You grow with every bump and bruise where you should. Those things that are meant to build character. We'll say with the quickness, oh, God won't put on me more than I can bear. But why does that go out the window when you have some tough spots in a year? I remember a year where I lost my dad. And although that was like the hardest thing I ever been through, it didn't kill the whole year. It did not kill the whole year. I ain't on camera today because I don't feel like being on camera right now. My hair looked like I looked when I was 18 months on this picture. I need to do something with it. Exactly, Gary. You have to be thankful for our victories and overcoming. That's the point of going through things, to overcome, you know, to prove that the victory was yours all along. It may not feel good when you go through it. You may not understand it even sometimes, but at the end of the day, with God, we are victorious. Hi, Justin. How are you? We never lose when we bet on God. Or when you're trying to do things on your own. That's when we start to have that issue. Hello, Kate, of disappointment in a sense. Yeah. When we try to do things in our own power, our own might, yes, we are able to do many things, but through Christ, we can do all things. All things, not some, not one, all. But the problem is, we don't do it through Christ. I know it's easier said than done, but practice makes perfect. I can think of times where I wasn't doing things through Christ, and I still sometimes miss the mark. Human being. I love Jesus too, Justin. That's a good thing. I never let anyone change that. And that's partly what I'm talking about today is to be in a relationship. I was just sitting here. Yes, ma'am. I was sitting here thinking about how I want to be closer to God, and then I started thinking about relationships. I was reflecting on Christmas. This is the first Christmas in I don't know how long that I've actually had I guess a family scenario. I haven't been in a relationship for a long time until now. My children are old and gone. They're not gone away from ever, but they're grown. Um, and I reflected. I look at the pictures we took, the things that, how you see people and like especially on social media, if you'll see a family taking Christmas pictures and they have on their matching pajamas and people used to like, oh, relationship goals. I look at my life now as this is what relationship goals is. It's not 100% perfect, but it's happening. I'm learning to live with another individual, understand this individual, and this individual understand me. I'm helping to raise children again. Have my own to raise, but I don't have a problem with children in a relationship, but I never thought of, if I would be with someone that had children, what part I'd play. So that was a bridge that I crossed when I got to it. And it's awesome. I was able to, I feel like being a young parent, like I told you, my kids are grown now. They're 31 and 32. And my daughter is having a boy, so I'm going to be a grandma to a baby boy in June. But being a young parent, it was kind of like my parents parented us. Yes, I took care of them financially and all that stuff, but it was still, I had a lot of support. A lot of stuff I didn't have to do because my mom was on it. And I feel like God gave me the chance to be able to do some of the things that either I didn't know to do with my children or I didn't have to do. I can't explain it without it sounding like I didn't take care of my kids because I did. I just had this. I can remember my mother would go Christmas shopping, and before I could even go, she done went and got everything, and I would be so frustrated because I'm like, why aren't you leaving anything for me? That's what I mean by this crazy support. So there were many years. I can remember one year where I actually went and bought some stuff that I wanted my kids to have. They got everything they wanted, but grandma, boy, she took over. Anyway, I ain't mad at her. But I'm getting to do things that I missed with my babies, if that makes sense. Yeah. I'm getting to go Christmas shopping, be like, oh, I think she'll like this. And, just get that. I always got to see my kids smile at opening their gifts. And they never knew mama ain't bought crap, but I got to experience that this year. I got to tell a kid, if you don't be good, Santa Claus ain't coming, or I'm gonna put some coal in your stocking. I even convinced myself I wasn't buying no Christmas gifts. That went out the window. I was at the store, like, ooh. But relationship. And I can now say that with my experience with healing, going through the process of healing, like from my last relationship years back to now, there was a certain level of healing that I went through before I was even open to another relationship. And in that healing process is where my relationship with God became most important. So to be in a relationship, I feel like I had to get in that relationship with Jesus. I had to make that my homeboy. I had to make that my sister girl. I had to make him my sister girl, my homeboy, my friends, cousins, sister, everything. I had to make God my everything. You know, the father when you don't have one, the mother when you don't have one, that family when you don't have one. And not saying I didn't have those things, but I'm saying I had to think of God in a way that He's everything. Without Him, I'm nothing, and without Him, there is nothing. Is that an easy task? No. But knowing is half the battle. I tend to work on that relationship as well, even more than I work on my, my romantic relationship. I um I feel like God showed me a lot about myself during that time. Hey baby girl, how are you? So that I was able to be ready to even go into a relationship. But even in all of that, I learned how to be better at relationships as a whole. Not just romance, but friendships, with my sister, my children. It's like if you don't know how to be good in one type of relationship, how can you be good in any type of relationship? So my goal is to be good in my relationship with Christ, so that I could be good in my relationships with my man, my sisters, my friends, all relationships that apply. To be in a relationship is a beautiful thing. It's just the prioritizing of things. A lot of times we'll say God first and we know it should be God first, but it's easy for things not to be God first and you not even realize it. You think God is first because you're proclaiming the name. But then if you take a step back and maybe look back on a few times, you will see like, man, I didn't have God first. I said Jesus take the wheel, but I was still driving. Now that takes work. If you can't work on that relationship, you ain't gonna be able to work on no relationship, because it's gonna be off. It's gonna be out of order somewhere. Um, in my healing process, like I said, it got me to a place where I was open to, I guess, receive love again. And the crazy thing is, 2 children and a few relationships prior my healing, process, I came out of my healing understanding that maybe I don't know love the way I should, or the way I thought. I ain't gonna say the way I should, but the way I thought. How many relationships have you been in that you thought, oh, I love him, I love her, and then later on, if you think about it for real, like, I mean, that was some love for him, but that wasn't love. I think that sometimes we don't even know what that looks like in a sense. But if I had to say I've learned anything post healing, is I learned to be more trusting. I trust God more, so I'm able to trust myself more. So if I trust myself more, I can go ahead and open up to new relationships. And, that's what I've done, as far as my romantic situation. I was able to open up to that thing. And even being in a new city, I'm able to open up to meeting new friends, new people in a whole new space. I could have been still in a space where I was closed off and shooting everything down and staying to myself, because, people believe that isolation is a safe place, but I don't believe that. I believe that there are times that we should be isolated, but I also believe that total isolation is never good for anyone at all. I know people that become so isolated they don't even leave the house, especially if they get a job at home. They don't even leave the house to go get food, because we got all that stuff at our fingertips, DoorDash and what's the other one? Instacart. You don't have to grocery shop or anything anymore. So that was this place I didn't ever want to be either. So while I was healing, I dated myself. I would go out and just hang out, enjoy the sun, and eat dinner or whatever it was I wanted to do. I did it myself, but I didn't compromise my healing process by inserting things and people too soon. But here I am on the other side of that healing, which was before I moved to Virginia. Um, I was in a relationship, man. I wasn't expecting a relationship. You know, them old people be like, it come when you least expect it. It come when you ain't looking. They ain't lying. But when that opportunity came, it was like I knew, because I told the story before. I approached him. A lot of women don't like that. They feel like that's a pursuit, but for me, it's not. For me, it's an introduction. It's sort of like Ruth in the Bible when Naomi told her at that party to go and lay at the bottom of Boaz's feet to let him know that she was available for marriage. Yeah, it's kind of one of them situations. It's kind of letting you know I'm available. Now, after that, shut up, Gary. But it's like one of those moments. So, ladies, I mean, if you're wanting to be in a relationship and you're ready for that, don't count out that you might have to say hey first. You might have to, strike up that conversation. 'Cause what I learned is men ain't paying attention sometimes. You can see them and they don't see you. And that was my case. I seen that man and it was like a light around him. And I'm looking like, why do this dude look so bright? Is that Jesus? Yeah. I swear I thought I seen Jesus in that stuff. And I promise you, I was like, oh man, I think he with somebody. That lady right there. Manager, I think he older than what he is. So I'm thinking like, oh, he with that little lady right there. But I'm still watching. Something would let me stop watching. So I was like, oh, forget it. I got in my car and I remembered, I said, you know what? You said that if you seen someone you wanted to meet, that you would not leave without meeting that person. So here I am in this brand new city, and I decide I'm gonna wait till he come out. And that's just what I did. And I didn't pull up talking about what's up, baby, and all that stuff. I had to think fast. I didn't know what to say, but I said something. One day I'll share that story if I haven't already, but I'll share it again one day. But the introduction, had I not said anything, he would never seen me, and I don't know if I would have ran into him again or not. The introduction during my healing process in the group I was in, they they introduced to us something called the envelope drop. That's the thing where you let a man know that you're interested without being aggressive and without, whether it's eye contact or, some people, if you got some hair, you might look at them a little bit and, put your hair behind your ear, look a little shy. People think that's not a thing or it's just TV, but it's a thing. Sometimes you got to do that envelope drop. Sometimes you got to do that envelope drop. My envelope drop used to be, all right, I see him. I done made eye contact. Now I'm gonna go to the restroom. You walk to the restroom. By the time you come back, he might done got the nerves up to say hello, right? But anywho, my envelope drop was to wait outside till he came out and then pull up. But from that point on, it was ball in his court. So to be in a relationship, sometimes you got to do the unthinkable. Sometimes you have to change something about yourself that you never thought you would change. Sometimes you have to go against what you think is going against the grain. You know, I see women, oh, I'll never approach a man. The man is supposed to pursue a woman. But if you weren't in his eyesight, how can he pursue you? And maybe he was to pursue you, but he didn't see you. But that's how I am with God. I'm trying to pursue him the way this man is pursuing me. Even though we're in a relationship now, he let me know early on, like, just know that I'm pursuing you. And that was a what? What did you say again? He wasn't no extra, religious. And, most time you hear somebody say I'm pursuing you, that's somebody that's churchy and all those type of things. He wasn't that, but he literally told me I'm pursuing you. And I'm looking at him like, yeah, never, dude. I tell you what, I met him at that gas station at night, and that next day until today, we ain't never been apart. Things happen. But God also, when you're in that relationship with God, he lets you know it's safe. I feel like we have a relationship that isn't, it didn't come together in an ideal way, but it came together in a way where it was convenient for us as two individuals both needing something in life. And I'm not talking about each other, but just a lot of things. Yeah, each other maybe, but a lot of things. And it's just been good, and I was, like I said, I was reflecting on the pictures, and I'm like, wow, here I am in a situation that I had never experienced. And had I not gone through that healing process, I would have not even been open to the situation or whatever. And what I've learned as of today, that healing is a continual process. So if you're waiting to be completely healed before you go into a relationship, I don't think that's ever going to happen, because once you get there, you'll realize there's still some things. I believe we heal to the extent that we need to be, and then God places the person in your life, or even the people in your life, that can aid in your continued healing to get you to the next phase, next space. So, although there's things that I know that I'm still healing through, I'm with someone that obviously I can heal through those things and it doesn't deter anything. I don't even think he notices that it's a healing for me. But I'm realizing how um, you have to learn how to be open to even being uh, the weaker vessel, in a sense, allowing a person. It's a lot of women out here right now that won't allow the man in their life, or a man, to be a man. And I don't mean that in the way where people say, oh, a man gonna be a man, you gotta let him be a man, which means he can go out and sow his royal oats and you just gotta take it. No, I mean, allow him to treat you as a man should treat you, without feeling like, I can do it. No, don't do it. I got this. I don't need you for that. Those type of things. I That's something I hadn't experienced. Thought about it, but I ain't never experienced it. And I've never, nah, I ain't gonna lie, I ain't never been that woman to be like, anything I can do, men can do, I can do too. I ain't never been that woman, because I don't believe that. I believe that I'm equipped. Hey, Cutting Edge, I believe that I'm equipped to do many things, but I still believe there are some things men should do and some things women should do. Now, does that mean one or the other can't do it? No. I just think I don't know. I can't explain it, but I hope you get it. But I had to let down a lot of barriers, Gary. It wasn't that I was so guarded, but yeah, I was, okay, let's say I wasn't as guarded anymore, but I still had barriers. And I had to be well enough in the moment to allow, or to know when to allow those barriers to come down. And I think that's where I am now. I've been slowly but surely, a lot of barriers have been coming down, and a lot of them isn't by my doing. They're just coming down, and I think that's how God lets you know you're safe. Because He allows those barriers to come down before you even realize it. I used to always say I want to be in a relationship like my mom was in. My mama didn't pay the mortgage. I can remember, lady, I told this woman when I was living in Cleveland. We were having a conversation. She was getting her nails done, and I was saying, I ain't being with no man that can't pay the mortgage. I ain't paying the mortgage. This was like in 2005. And that lady looked me square in my face and told me, well, you're going to be by yourself for the rest of your life. And I was looking at her like, no, I'm not. Shoot, my daddy paid a mortgage. That's what I was thinking. But uh I haven't paid a bill since sometime last year. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I'll come check in a minute. I'm not done. I said, I'm not done. You all right? You need something? Huh?
Yeah,
What do you need?
a treat.
A treat. Did you try those cereal bars? Excuse me, yeah.
No, but I already know I'm not gonna like it.
You like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Why wouldn't you like it?
I don't know, I won't know. Because I taste them.
Oh. All right, well, get you something. Bye.
Huh?
Go get something. Bye.
Okay.
What are you getting?
I have a cookie.
Yeah, what cookie?
Huh?
What cookie?
Um, not to be nosy or anything, but what's in the 7-Eleven bag?
I have no idea.
Can I look?
Yeah, let me know.
Can I get one thing out of it?
Yeah, Naya.
Yay.
See what I'm saying? But those barriers slowly come down, and I told that lady what I wanted. I've often said what I wanted, and did I know that's what I got? No, but I haven't paid like household bills in since last July. Now that can be scary. Well, it was for me because I'm looking like, oh shoot. But I know what I prayed for, and I know what I said in the event of, it's not about, oh, he's taking care of me. It's about, allowing this man to do his job. And me, when things happen, always being ready to pick up the slack if I have to. I even got a taste of that in the beginning. As soon as we moved, the he got fired. Yeah, that's what happened. He got fired. So for the first 3 months, it was all me. Did I mind? No. But when the tables turned, to be in a relationship, you have to be open to, things happening. You see things like that happen. Hey, Ray Rose. You see things like that happen, and immediately the woman is like, oh, you got this many weeks or months to get it in order because you're supposed to be doing this. That wasn't my mentality. My mentality was, I watched my dad. He was a barber. I watched him go through months where he couldn't work because he had an issue with his ankles. There were these ulcers that would break out on his ankles. So he had to stay off his feet until those things, they opened up like holes. So he had to stay off his feet until those things healed from the inside out. And while that happened, my mom, she stepped up to the plate. She handled things. So I've always said I want a relationship like my mom and dad had, and or better, definitely or better. They ain't been I ain't gonna say they was 100% the greatest example, but in my learning myself and learning God, I see where they could have been so much better. But they were good. Don't get me wrong. But that's what it is to be a relationship. Is to be able to handle bumps and bruises, ups and downs, to be able to be that stand in when you need to be. But if we're not in a relationship with God, I don't think we'll ever develop the heart for that. We won't develop that level, that measure of grace for that. I feel like you have to be graced to know that things happen, and sometimes you're gonna have to stand up and take the torch for a minute until things get back right. You have to have a certain level of grace to understand that life happens sometimes unexpectedly. So you have to always be ready. But I don't think if I hadn't been in my relationship with God wasn't what it is, that I would have recognized those things. It was during my healing that I recognized those things with my parents, not when I was growing up in the situations, but when I dealt with myself, and I was given a better understanding of how it looks. What I was watching, what I was experiencing when I watched my mom, get that money up for that mortgage, them lights or whatever. Stone cold hustling. That's where I get it from. My mama. Cause that's me. I say to this day, long as I can drive, I can make some money. I ain't getting rid of DoorDash. I go to Amazon and I do hair. I'm gonna always be able to make that bread. But I've never been in a situation where, nah, I got this. You go ahead and, get you something. Or you go ahead and work on that so your credit score can come up. You go ahead and do this so that when this time comes, you got this. As good as that sounds, if you aren't in a space of healing that you're ready for that, you would probably shoot it down and jack it up. I am so thankful. I'm so thankful that I went through that process because I don't know. I probably would have been like, "Oh nah, it's a lie. It's too good to be true. Ninjas don't do this." That would have been my mentality probably 5 years ago. Like, yeah, you trying to trick me. But even in the sense of your significant other, I think a lot of times we give up on people in even their healing process. Because I can now recognize where things were a certain way in the beginning. I watched them change and they continue to change. So it's like, okay, so we're not married yet. Y'all probably have gathered that. But I believe that with God in the midst, He works things out for the good. Do I recommend, you know, not not being married and living together? No. Is it like, oh, this is something I just set out to do? No. But I know the grace of God, and I know that He's going to pull everything together the way He wants it to be. I know He's going to pull everything together the way He wants it to be. A lot of people beat people up behind stuff like that, but you never know when a person's in a situation where, like I was in, I didn't know anyone here and I kind of didn't have nowhere to go in that, at a moment. And yeah, it was either, well, I'm going to trust and live with this person because I feel safe about it, or I got to go home. I'm not a quitter. And I rejected it at first, for sure. But some just said, trust this. So I did. You know what I'm saying? Everything isn't going to be conventional. Everything isn't going to be, oh, I don't care. You can tell me anything. I don't believe nobody that say, oh no, we didn't kiss before we got married. We did. Now, I ain't saying there's not instances where they're not, but I'm saying people need to quit trying to act like everything was just peachy and they did everything by the book, because no, I don't believe that. Because as much as I want to or wanted to, it ain't happened that way. God provided. Period. I got a nice home now, the second one. But I just, like I said, because of my relationship with God, I'm always in that space of, okay, I need more understanding. Or what do you want us to do? And all that good stuff. And I learned that even these babies are a part of the assignment. Even these babies are a part of the assignment. But when you're in a relationship with God, you're able to consult. Am I saying God's like, go ahead and shack up, people? No, I'm not. Please don't get me misconstrued. This is me. This is my life. This is my journey. This is my route. This is my transparency in not coming across as some Miss Goody two-shoe that's doing everything right, because I'm not. But the one thing I know I do right is I never, ever stray away from God. I always, someone asked me, if you were to ask me, what if God told you to move? Guess what I would do? I would move. Quickly. Quickly. But I'm also trusting my process, you know? I'm trusting my process. I'm not justifying anything. I'm trusting my process. I just really want everyone to understand that a healing process takes God. It takes your relationship with God to get through things. It's no person that can heal you. There's no magic that can heal you. It's God and your willingness to walk with Him and trust Him. Does He use people to help in that healing process? Absolutely. And I feel like that person is going to be equipped for whatever it is that you're healing through in that moment. It don't have to be your boyfriend. It could be your female friend. It could be a cousin. It's going to equip that person. That's why now in life, if there's something that a friend needs from me and I know I can't provide it, I will let them know. I don't feel like I have the capacity to assist you in this situation. Because if I did, it would automatically happen. That's how I feel. It would automatically come to me what to do, how to do it. You did already and look at the result. I did what, Gary? I'm sorry. You know how you be talking and you don't even know what the person responded to. But I trust God, you know. To be in a relationship, you have to trust God. To be in a relationship with God, you have to trust God. To be in a relationship with a parent, you have to trust your parents. To be in a relationship with your besties, you should be able to trust them. Relationships don't differ, you know. I feel like the only difference in my relationship and a marriage is a ceremony and some rings. Yeah. Because guess what? When I get the ring and there is a ceremony, however that happens, you know, it could just happen by going downtown. I don't know. However that happens, I'm still going to have to do the same things to maintain that relationship. And if I can't do it with God, if I can't do it with my friends, and I can't do it with my family, how in the world could I possibly do it with a spouse? Yeah, Gary. I mean, I think that I can look back on life and think of things that didn't happen, and it was simply because of a move I didn't make. You know, because I was being so technical about the situation. I don't think I should do this because it's this, and people think this, and people say that. Sometimes, no, all the time, not sometimes, all the time, your journey is your journey. That's why they say others might not understand. They won't understand because it's not them, it's not their journey, it's yours. Your path is your path. So, although it may not look right to the world, between you and God, that's what's popping. What's between you and God is popping. So, if it don't look right to Cuzzo down the block, that's okay. It's okay. If it doesn't look right to grandma, guess what? You're going to have to be okay. Because your journey ain't even grandma's journey. Grandma packed wisdom. Now, you do have to have discernment to understand that sometimes people may be sent to give you a message to help you along the way. But at the end of the day, you got to walk your walk. You know, I feel like warning comes before destruction. If you're walking with God and you're listening and moving the way He wants you to move, then He has no need to send you a warning. But if there's a warning to be sent, you have to have that discernment to know, wait a minute, maybe I'm missing something. Maybe this is not the way I'm supposed to be doing it. But I'm a human being, you know. I didn't have anywhere to go. And because my, um, I ain't gonna play. This man, 2 days after I met him, he was like, I'm looking for a place. You looking for a place. We should just move together. I'm like, what I said was, hell no. I don't know you. That's what I said. Because I'm like, psh, first of all, stranger danger. I still call him stranger danger to this day. Yeah. But stranger danger. Boy, please, I ain't moving with you. You're a stranger. But the more I was with him, the more I felt I could trust him. I still wasn't on that, but I'm like, this dude all right, you know. What I had to understand was because I didn't know anybody here, God would place someone in my life that could help me along, that would help me be able to stay on my path versus me getting off my path and going back to a place that I left. Not the place I had just left, but the place I left, what, 19 years ago? Because that's where I was going. I was going home. Okay. 2 weeks later, I'm like, pressed, like, damn, I ain't got nowhere to go still. All right, so if we do this, I need you to know this. This is going to be like this, and this is going to be like this. In other words, we roommates. And that's when he told me. He said, okay, so long as you know I'm pursuing you. Huh? Huh? Anyway, that's here nor there. I'm just saying, walk your journey with God so that you're not thrown off a path that you're supposed to be on by way of others' opinions, others' judgment. You know, God, this don't look right to the people, and He's like, keep going. You know, that's the space you need to be in, because those same people ain't the ones helping you get out of that rut. They ain't the ones gonna come and co-sign for you to have an apartment. They ain't the ones that's throwing you some money to make sure you all right. And that wasn't even the gist of it. The money was no problem. I was making money. I just didn't have a place to live. And we went into that situation as, okay, one of us gonna get something first. So it wasn't like I was just sitting back waiting. He just happened to be the one who got approved first. But I sit here on Christmas Day and I know without a doubt these kids experience a Christmas they hadn't experienced before. Not saying they've had bad Christmases, but what I say they haven't experienced before, but like one that was solely with their dad. Gary, you crazy. Solely with their dad, you know. We had fun, you know. I'm like, man, this is pretty dope. But here I am on today realizing that I'm still healing through some things. And a lot of this that's taking place is healing spaces and places that were still broken. And I realized, like, I'm going to heal probably for the rest of my life. We're not perfect. Never going to be perfect. But I understand that there'll never be a total healing. So, no, you're not going to get perfect before you get with a person. But I do believe that those major things, those major traumas, you should face them prior to. Know your triggers, at least to be able to explain those things to a person. You know, I've seen a lot of women say, oh, everything ain't to be told. And I'm like, there's certain things that I feel like in relationships you must tell someone, because if you have triggers and you're triggered and then you flip out, they're going to think you're crazy and then you're going to wish you had told them. I feel like total transparency. This is me. If that person is with you, they with you. And if they with you, when they hear your this is me, they're going to ask you, well, if this happens, what do I need to do? They're going to get to know you to the point where they know if they need to just sit and listen to you, if they just need to sit and hold you, if they need to exit stage left and give you some space. They're going to know and they're going to do it. Just like deliverance is continual, it's the same thing. Deliverance, healing, all those things are a continuous thing. The key is not stopping and allowing those things to find their way back. Because we know when they find their way back, it's 7 times worse. We don't want to be in that 7 times worse camp. On the day I just say I'm thankful to God for my healing process. I'm thankful to God that 8 years ago I was broken. And that's another thing, man. You ain't gonna get no true healing until you are absolutely broken before God. Ain't a seed, ain't a nothing that's gonna help you with your healing if you haven't been broken. What I mean is, if you haven't come to that point, you can't take no more, and you know that ain't nothing else for you to do but say, God help me. When you go before Him broken like that, He helps you. He helps you get through those. How am I going to be um, abstaining when I've been doing this for all these years? He helps you through those things when you come to Him broken. How am I going to stop doing XYZ? He helps you when you come to Him broken. That's just like anything that you plant that is to grow, it has to go through a stage of breaking. Yeah, you put it in the ground. It don't just be like, boom, here's a plant. No, that seed goes through a phase of breaking. Now, when it breaks, everything that is put in can go for its nutrients and everything else for that branch, that vine, that whatever, that fruit to come up out of there and grow. And what you put into that soil is what's going to make sure it grows properly. So that's where you put God, God, and more God, so that you're growing strong, so that you're growing in gaining wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, so that you're growing and you're able to be honest with yourself, that you're able to look in the mirror and say, not what's wrong with me, but this is something you deal with. This is something you deal with. Not, I don't see anything. Nah. When you're able to look in that mirror, when you go before God broken, you're able to look in that mirror and say, man, you're rejected. You're a manipulator. You feel this way. You've gotten this way because of this. When you're able to figure out your reasons for the way you are without blaming it on someone else, or not looking at, even if it wasn't your fault, without blaming it on, oh, I went through this. This is why I'm like this. Nah. When you're able to look at yourself and say, this happened because I did this. This happened because this wasn't me, and I got to be okay with it. When you're able to self-reflect like that, that's when you're really going to heal. Because if you hold on to your truth, you know how people say, this is my truth, and I'm sticking to it. Your truth can still be a whole lie if you don't deal with those things that are inside of you that need to come up and out. Your truth to be your truth to you, but it's a lie sometimes. The truth is, we do blame other people for things that happen to us. We do blame people for things that we may deal with and not realize we deal with it. So we're going to find a reason why I deal with this. Oh, it had to be that brother over there because I would never act like this. Nah, man. I was rejected. I operated in the spirit of manipulation. And I came to realize that by something so subtle. I used to get my hair braided by this lady named Jennifer, when I was like 14 years old. And I would listen to Jennifer when she was on the phone, running game on people, right? Asking guys for money. And me, 14 years old, just listening and watching her, hey, I need this. I ain't got it right now. And she would go into this fake cry. 14 years old now. I'm watching this lady. And then 20 minutes later, that same person that said no would pull up. Can you imagine the seed that was planted in that moment? I watched a lot of people do manipulative things as a child. So therefore, I started to be that way. But that's something I had to look in the mirror and say, you're manipulative. And this is why. Yeah, some things you have to go way back to heal. You know those things we don't like to touch on? I don't want to go that place. Hey, Shay. I don't want to go back to that place. Sometimes, well, no, not sometimes. All the time. You're going to have to go back to those places because a lot of the things that we need healing from in adulthood that's preventing us from being in that relationship with God to the fullest, it's usually something that happened that we don't want to remember. So once you come into Christ and He's, I would say, provoking you to deal, to allow Him to deal with those things, then you're going to have to go back. You know, it could have been 5, it could have been 6, because a lot of the things that we're dealing with in adulthood, it didn't happen because a boyfriend broke up with us in ninth grade. It could have been something that happened to us that manifested in adulthood when we were like 5 or 6. But a lot of times, the things that happen to people when they were like 5 or 6, those are unpleasant things. Hey, young Riaz. You know, I have an experience when I was like 6, I think, where my grandma whooped me because I wanted to go home. And do you know how long I carried that trauma? My grandma was dead and gone before I had understand forgiveness and how to forgive. And that sometimes you have to forgive people who are no longer with you. Forgiveness is definitely for me. Happy birthday, Riaz. But if I didn't acknowledge the fact that that hurt me when I was a child, you know, I feel like that made me untrusting in a sense. Someone I was supposed to trust so with everything about me, my whole life. That's like my mama's mama, which means that should have been like, okay, I got this baby like I'm her mama. But when your mama, your caregiver, won't return you to your mama and you get a whooping instead, imagine what that trauma manifests as in adulthood. Probably a little bit of trust issue. Yeah, and most of forgiveness, you're gonna have to learn. Let me forgive myself first, because you know that when things happen and we feel like we should have done better or had control or, whatever. Some people have to forgive themselves because someone made them believe it was their fault. You gotta forgive yourself, not because you did anything, but because maybe you thought you did. I need to forgive myself before I could forgive anybody. I forgave myself. Then I had to get down and dirty with the hard work. Why do I keep attracting? No, first we got back with God first. That was the first part of it. Is getting our life back in perspective with God first. Let me get the Jesus going on in front of all this. Now I can go in and tap into why I select the same type of person over and over again. What causes that to happen? These soul ties, were they physical? Were they emotional? Were they verbal? I promise you, in that healing process, I never thought of a verbal soul tie. But I know I had a lot of them. You know, we all done did it before. Oh, yeah, you the best, and I'll never love anyone the way I love you. You're my first and only true love. See what I'm saying? Verbal. Oh, well, we gonna have 5 kids and we gonna make this much money. It'd be innocent stuff you're saying, but you're making a verbal soul tie. So that when What we didn't know at the time, what don't work. We done moved on. We didn't got in all these relationships. We're looking back on that verbal soul tie, looking for those things in every person we come in contact with. And when they fall short, then something's wrong. Man, it takes courage to heal. It definitely takes courage. You have to be courageous to walk in healing because you're going to be forced to look at yourself in ways you didn't want to. You're going to be forced to face some things you didn't want to. You're going to be forced to change some things you don't probably want to. But God, that's why your relationship is so important. Because with Him, you're very strong. Without Him, you're weak, man. You're going to fail every time. You might make it a little while, but yeah, you gonna fail. That's another way of knowing when you're out of order with God is when you've been doing well and you ain't really thinking about it. You chilling. Then all of a sudden things start to go a little haywire. That's a that's a that's a reminder. Wait a minute, let me check and make sure where God at, because I could have had left him at the bus stop back there and didn't realize it. Because things getting a little shaky right now. Yeah, like I always say, I'm not perfect. My life isn't perfect, but it's my journey and it's the way that God knew it would go. Now, there's things that I have to do that I know will make everything even better. I always say, I said, yeah, to a certain extent, I'm blessed, but to a certain extent, I have a whole lot of grace. And I don't want to just move through with this grace, and run out. I'd rather just be blessed. So, like I said, although things are ideal, I know that it will be, you know. I know that we both work towards being better individuals in Christ. That was one thing that I used to always tell God, like, I like to go to church. And, He ain't got to go to church every week, but I at least want Him to come and see, what I like to do, where I like to go. And I didn't have to ask that man to come to church. I said I was going to church. He asked me where was the church at, and he said he's gonna take off that day and come with me. And I was like, "What? I know you lying. Nah, I know some dude didn't just say he was gonna come to church to me, and I didn't invite him. Yeah, he liked the pastor and everything. I remember I used to always be like, y'all, if y'all go to church, y'all know when they do the altar call, they'll always be like, when you leave here, do you know without a doubt where you're going? Um, If you're here today and you're not sure, or if you're here today and you need to rededicate your life, come now, basically. I used to always go through the whole little process, be like, you saved? You sure you saved? Like, yeah, yeah. Every week I'd just be, you sure? You sure you saved? Yeah, yeah. One week I asked, you sure? You sure you saved? He said, how I know if I'm saved? So I explained it. I said, I tell you what, hold my hand, and when he says it again, if you want to go, squeeze and snatch me. I'll come with you. He squeezed, but he didn't snatch. The usher seen us. And she came over there like, are you ready? He said, yeah. And that was the beginning of that. And I don't think it was that he was never saved. I think it was he was unsure. And I was in that space before where I was unsure. Yeah, I went through the motions, I went through the process, but did I get saved and just do it because? Did I get saved without the understanding? Nothing wrong with it. At that moment, I rededicated. And Pastor said some stuff to us, and that's why we know. Trust me, we know. And as we continue to grow and get closer with God, then everything that needs to be stripped away is going to be stripped away, and everything that needs to be put in is going to be put in. I'm just excited about the healing process and knowing what it takes to be in a relationship with God first and foremost. If I don't know that relationship, I can't know any. That's how I feel about it. I can go through the motions. I can pretend. It can be, just like how we see in a lot of these entertainers right now. They've been moving without God. See, on the outside, we look like, oh, they're so blessed. Look at this. They're so blessed. They're the first black billionaire. And, oh, they're so blessed. They got all these things and stuff. Look at how blessed they are. Oh, I want to be in that relationship. All this stuff that looks so great and like a blessing when we know the enemy tries to mimic God. And he gets these people and he have them on this road of trickery. And then, just like clockwork, because he has no control over anything, God has all control. When God says enough, this is what happens. Devil can't even help them no more. Can't even keep them up there no more. They got to come down. That's why your relationship with God is important. It's important for his elevation to be implemented into your life. Not the quick, not the fast, not the comparison of someone else. I want to be like that. I want this. I want that. No, want what God has for you. Have that relationship with him so he'll tell you, yeah, that looks good, but what I have for you is eternal. It's eternal. That means it's not going to leave. It's not going to forsake you. It's not going to drop you. And even when you fall, it's going to cover you if you are in that relationship. To be in a relationship is the dopest thing ever. Just know that first relationship needs to be God. It needs to be God so that you can continue your journey, your process, or whatever it is you have to process through. Be aware, Be aware. I'm most aware right now that y'all see my closet. This journey is far from over. It's far from over. But I'm gonna enjoy my walk. Yeah. I'm going to enjoy my walk. As I continue to grow, as I continue to heal, this time next year I won't look like this. And the year after that, I won't look like that year. Because I want to continue to heal and grow. I need to let this process, and that's my encouragement. Get in a good relationship with God so that your processes. Let your process. Let your growth happen. Let your lessons happen. Let all that stuff happen. But it happens by process. Allow yourself to be processed by God. Don't take yourself through self-process. Don't try to fix yourself. Yes, you do what you can and he does the rest. That's a given. But those things that, look, we know good and well, there's some things that we'll say, oh, I'm going to fix it. And you really ain't telling the truth. You okay with it. When you allow him to fix those things that you've become comfortable with, that he don't want you with, that's when you know you're growing. That is absolutely when you know you're growing. Yeah. So I think I've come to the end of my words. As I am commanded to press play and talk. If I don't have anything else to say, just like the Bible, I'm not adding to it, and I ain't about to take away. I said what I said. Bunny bread. No, I'm just kidding. I do appreciate everyone who stopped in today, who's here right now, who will watch the replay. As always, I have a Cash App. If you choose to sow into my life. It is a money sign, her meekness, as in my name. But that is definitely not the most important thing over here. The most important thing is hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Sharing is caring. Even if it was a message that you fully 100% agree with and you got it, maybe you know somebody else that needs it. Share it with them. Um, yeah, I appreciate you guys. I do. I don't know. I'll probably be back tonight when I'm on my way to work. I know I generally like to come on and take my ride to work. I go in at 7. I knew I should have kept it 11 to 5:30, but yeah, I'm going 7 to 5:30 for today and tomorrow. And allegedly Sunday. I don't know. I said I wasn't working no 10-hour shifts this week, and here I am. But I decided not to go to work yesterday, so that's why I did it kind of. So I have at least 2 days on my check next week. Nice little something, something. But yeah, y'all go sub up to my other page too. It's I don't know how to put comments in on here. Gary, if you're still here, I don't know how to put the comments in on here, but it is at Meek, Meek, did that THAT 757. Meek did that 757. That's my hair page on here. As y'all know, I've been seeking for a salon suite, and that journey is about to begin. So I need to get to 50 subs so that I can go live from there and document my journey. So yeah, Meek did that 757. I appreciate you guys. I'm at 18 subs. I need to get to 50. So if you can, please go over there and sub up. I'll put it in my description on here. Yeah, that's what I'll do. But I appreciate you guys so much. I pray God blesses you with an amazing rest of your day, that He continues to keep you and your family covered during this holiday season. I pray that He allows you to become closer with Him as well as closer with your loved ones. I hope He allows you to explore and discover new things about yourself you never knew before, and shows you how to implement them in life to help others. I pray that your kids are protected in all their coming and going, when they go back to school, while they're out of school. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Bye now.